Hello and welcome to Lighthouse Online. We are so glad that you could join us today. We are beginning our new series, Stories for Our Future. And to introduce this series, we have Andy Flaherty.
I love coming to places like this. When I look around and see the new growth in the trees and the insects and the birds, it reminds me that there's patterns and processes at work that will continue regardless of my circumstances or the way I feel. We're starting a new series this week called Stories for Our Future, where we look at the Bible and remind ourselves of the stories where, although it was seemingly difficult, although there may have been nothing, although there may have been hardship and lockdown and uncertainty, God was still at work, emerging patterns and processes that would lead to breakthrough and change and a hopeful future. These are the stories for our future. This week, we're going to look at creation. But to start the creation story, we begin with nothing. Let there be light. There are so many different stories about the way the universe was created. In the Jewish and Christian tradition, we hear of a God who spoke the universe into being. In fact, long before this story was written, it was spoken. It was a tale told around campfires from fathers to their children about the way God created the world. It wasn't a scientific explanation of the history of everything, and it wasn't a literal description. It was a poem. It was something to incite curiosity and interest in the kind of God God is. There's three things that stand out to me about this story, particularly in the opening verses. The first is that something filled the universe long before there was light, long before there was air and water, land, plants and animals. Something filled that void, that expanse. As we read the story, it tells us that God said. He spoke. The first thing that broke out across that black, empty void was the sound of his voice. And what he said is that brings us to our next point, in that he said, "Let there be light." Now, this process of God speaking and light crackling across the universe is an important aspect to the kind of God God is. After that, God went and spoke all of the correct conditions into being so that life could be sustained throughout our planet. God's voice, light, and life. This process of him speaking light and life into our world is perhaps the most important process visible in the entire book of the Bible. When we read this story, we're introduced to the main character of the huge story that we have in our Bible. And this one process can be sure from the start to the end, is that when God speaks, our world becomes filled with light and life. Have you ever focused so hard on trying to get something right that you forget the basic principle underneath it all? It's no secret that I love surfing. I've loved surfing since I was tiny, and I've been surfing most of my life. I love talking about the equipment and talking about the conditions and going surfing with friends and going surfing by myself. But there was a time in surfing where I forgot the basic principle. I was so focused on trying to do the right maneuvers and get the right waves. And I even started becoming a person I didn't really want to be. I was cranky when I got home from the surf instead of feeling fulfilled and like I had a good time. I had forgot that the basic principle of surfing was to have fun. When we get so focused on getting life right and getting everything done correctly and ensuring that the lives of those around us are correct, we forget the basic principle of life, and that is to be in relationship with God. As you look across the history of the biblical story, we notice that this was a recurring pattern that happened again and again and again. When Adam and Eve wanted to control their own destiny away from God, God gave them everything they needed to survive outside of His presence, and He even started a rescue plan to bring them back. When the world had become so hateful and violent of each other that God couldn't bear it anymore, He took their lives back to Himself with a mighty flood. When the world had forgotten about God altogether, He chose just one man to build a family who would serve as guides to bring people back to Himself. When that family, by famine, had to move to another country and became enslaved as the nation of Israel, God rescued them miraculously and gave them a code to live by so that they could restore a rightful and faithful relationship with Him. And when this people group decided that they didn't want God to lead them anymore, but they wanted a human king, just like all of the other nations, God gave them one in the hope that this human king would lead them into a right relationship with Him. And even when the kings demonstrated that they were just human and that they couldn't get things correct and right, God sent more prophets, people to speak messages of hope and remind them of what it is to live in relationship with Him. This reminds me of what the prophet Isaiah wrote all those years ago. This is God's message. The God who created the cosmos, who stretched out the skies and laid out the earth and all that grows from it. He who breathes life into earth's people and makes them alive with His own life. I am God. I have called you to live right and well. I have taken responsibility for you to keep you safe, and I have set you among my people to bind them to me and provide you as a lighthouse to the nations. After the prophets, something extraordinary happened. God came to earth Himself. He came as a simple poor man. He came not with prestige, not with a sword, not with a crown. He came simply to speak. One of Jesus' friends, who probably heard Him speak a whole lot, wrote a story about Him, and we read it today. It's called the Gospel of John. And John did something very clever in the opening verses of his book. He actually recreated the creation story. But in this time, instead of referring to light and life as metaphors that God spoke into being, he simply states that Jesus was what God spoke. In other words, he said that God's ultimate expression to us is Jesus, and that He is life, and that in His life is the light for all mankind. It sounds like this. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. He was in the beginning with God. All things were made through Him, and without Him nothing that was made could be made. In Him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness could not comprehend it. John, in writing about Jesus' life, directly appropriates the creation story, but with this bold declaration, that Jesus is the sound of God's voice, and that when God spoke light and life into the universe, He came as Jesus. These stories for our future remind us of the things that are important, the patterns and processes and basic principles of life that help us have a hope-filled outlook for our future. And what this story teaches us is that we find our life in Jesus, that He is able to light up our world so that we can have a great future ahead of us. If you've never experienced the light and life and the difference that having Jesus in your life makes, we want to invite you to do that here today with us. And it's as simple as saying this prayer. So why don't you pray with me? Lord Jesus, I thank You for being the light to the world. I thank You for showing us what living fully means. I thank You, Lord, that when You died, You took away my sin, all of my bad decisions and my bad actions. And now that I know You, I invite You into my heart to help me to live a great life and have a great future. I look forward to telling my friends and family about You. Amen.
Hey Lighthouse, why don't you join us in worship as our creative team lead us in the next couple of songs.
How can I sing you a song in the midst of suffering? Jesus, will you meet me here? Let your peace wash over me, 'cause I need you now more than ever. Teach my soul to sing. My God is still in control. Still He reigns on His throne. And though mountains may tremble and sea billows roar, well, I sing it is well with my soul, 'cause my God is still in control. You have not left me alone, though this world has let me down, and all of my sorrow and pain, I will trade it for a crown. Thank you for saving me when the night was closing in. Whatever my life, you are still God. I will sing again. My God is still in control. Still He reigns on His throne. Though mountains may tremble and sea billows roar, well, I sing it is well with my soul, 'cause my God is still in And it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is My God is still in control, and still He reigns on His throne. And though mountains they'll tremble and sea billows roll, I'll sing it is well with my soul, 'cause my God is still in control. My God is still in control. When night has fallen and fear is come, still you're calling me. When faith is lost, my hope exhausted, you will be my strength. And when my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. And I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. No. I feel it breaking out like an echo in my soul. In every season, you keep repeating your promises to me. Whoa, and there's no stopping what you have started until it is complete. So when my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. And I decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. No. I feel it breaking out like an echo in my soul. When my mind says I'm not good enough, God, you're enough for me. And I've decided I'm not giving up, 'cause you won't give up on me. You won't give up on me. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. And I feel it breaking out like an echo. Your love is holding on and it won't let go. I feel it breaking out like an echo in my soul.
As we explore our Stories for the Future series, we thought it would be really important to hear from members of our Lighthouse family around their discipleship story, a friendship with intention. So today I have with me two of our most amazing super mums, Talia and Kelly. Thanks for joining us today. Talia, let me know how you and Kelly met. Tell us about your friendship.
Yeah, well, I met Kelly here at Lighthouse probably 6 or 7 years ago now. I think we met initially because we had 2 children at the time and they were pretty much exactly the same age and they got on really well. We've since both had two more children in that time and done life together this whole time, I guess. most recently in the last year we've both had our 4th babies and they ended up being born a day apart. So
How convenient.
we have a few things in common.
The birthday party sorted.
That's right.
Forever. So good. And so Kelly, having Talia and so much in common in your friendship, how have you found support with each other over these last few years?
I think it's just nice just doing the journey together to know when your child's done something wrong or something, you're not a failure as a mother.
That's right.
It's normal and it's nice to have that support of doing life together, I guess. Yeah.
So Talia, Kelly mentioned that mums really need that support, and for mums in a Christian community, it goes beyond just the coffee in the park plays, and so it's that friendship with an faith intention. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think yeah, coffee and park plays are fabulous, but there does need to be that point in your week where you can go deeper. I think for me that would be a connect group, and I think that's a great example of doing life with people who may be the season you're in right now, or may be in that season ahead of you. But there is just that intention where you can share what's going on in your world, but a bit deeper. Obviously the park is not always where you bare your soul to everybody. It's not always appropriate. So it's just that, I guess, the accountability and the support, and whether that's practical support like meals when you're sick, or the prayer support, like that's, to me, knowing that there is a group of women, and the women are, they're faith-filled and they're steady and consistent and they're dependable. And when I say, hey guys, this is happening for me, can you pray for me? I know that they are. It's not just that they're saying it, and it's not just that, it's the following up and how did that go, and
the intention
behind it is so important. And I just think that's the friendship, but it's the next level.
Yeah, so good, love it. And Kelly, as a mum, we carry a load, not just for ourselves, but for the whole family. But it's really important that we find those spaces where we can be nurtured ourselves and find those spaces of faith for ourselves. So how does that look for you? You've got Brooklyn just turned 1, mum of 4. How have you found space for that this year?
I think it's something like that every mum can struggle with. It's hard to you put everyone else first, but if you don't put into yourself, you're not going to have anything in the tank to put into your family as well. So for me at the moment, Mark in the mornings looks after the kids and does the school run, and not the school run, but gets them ready for school. And I lock myself away. We are lucky and have a granny flat, so I lock myself away for half an hour to an hour and just have some me time, which I read my Bible and do those things as well. I think for me, when we talk about being with other in faith-filled community, if I've had struggles and things like that, I'm into the generation, so I normally seek out the amazing Carol Ramsey, and she's someone that I can just talk to and ask questions, and she can be honest and speak into my life, and things like that as well.
We're really lucky when we're in a faith-filled community that we can look up and we can see people that have gone before us, and we can watch how they've done it, but we can also be an example to the ones below us as well. So I think it's really important that we've got those discipleship friendships around us. So Talia, you are really passionate about women, and in particular about mums finding their place in community. Why is discipleship so important?
Yeah, I am very passionate about mums and women, and I think I strongly believe that when mums are healthy, then families are healthy, because they do set the tone in their households and in their environments. So, and their communities are healthy, so it has that flow-on effect. So, and I think health is that. When I say healthy mums, I mean spiritual health and emotional health and mental and physical, the whole gamut of what health means. And so I think discipleship is a key part of that. And I think we as faith, we've got that with connect groups, but people who aren't part of our faith gatherings often don't have that level of relationship with one another. So that was, I guess, our heart behind creating Station Mum Social, and for it to be a place where women can come and gather and come alongside women who do attend Lighthouse and who are faith-filled, and I guess feel like it's a safe place where they can come and explore and
ask questions about faith.
That's right.
But in a familiar environment.
Yeah, with safe people, and it's not weird, and it's just I guess women coming alongside women, and that's, I guess, our heart behind that, and that's why we do that every Tuesday fortnight.
Thanks so much, Kelly and Talia. It's been really great to hear about the discipleship process for mums and women in our community. If this is your first time joining us today, we would love to hear from you. So please jump on the website and hit the connect button. At Lighthouse, we love to pray, and we want to pray specifically for your family this week. So please send us an email and let us know how we can support you this week. We want to warmly invite you to join a connect group. There is no better place to grow your friendships and grow your faith. So please jump on the website and hit the connect button, or send Andy Flaherty a personal email. Our kids' resources are ready to go. We update our resources every week. So why don't you jump on the website and watch it together as a family? It's a great way to form your faith together. Lighthouse Youth is happening every Friday night. They also have connect groups right through the week. To find out more, check out the social media handles on the screen. Thank you for your regular and generous giving. It is because of you that Lighthouse can continue to love and serve our community. To support Lighthouse, check out the ways to give on the screen now. We would love for you to save the date for the 20th of September. It's our senior leaders, Paul and Annette Bartlett's 20 years of leading at Lighthouse. We're going to have some great celebrations on this day with both live and Zoom options. So make sure you check out the social media for more updates. Thanks so much for joining us today. I hope that you have a great week ahead. Don't forget, Monday night, TGIM TV, Season 2, Episode 3 is live at 7 p.m. Check it out on Instagram or YouTube. Thanks for joining us today and have a great week.